Hey everyone, Dominator here. Today we finally get some well-needed changes coming to the loot system. And what's really funny about this whole situation is I literally just posted a video about this morning about this particular topic, and they fixed it. So it made my video, half of my video, irrelevant. However, I'm just excited for me as a player and for the player base. So let's get to it. We have Ben Ervo, a lead producer. I don't know. Is it Ervo? That's his actual last name. Anyway, lead producer from Bioware posted on the Reddit. Sorry, I have something in my mouth. Gross. And let's go. Hey all. First off, thank you for the feedback around the loot drops. This is what we have heard. This is gross. There was a hair. I'm sorry, guys. So this is what they've heard from us as a community. Many inscriptions are not useful to the items that they are attached to, something I brought up. Due to this, players need to get many masterworks on the same item to find a good one. Players want their frequency of masterwork drops to increase to help with this above, or I don't want that. I do not want a third point, but I'm glad there's an or they want us to change how masterwork inscriptions work so that they are more useful. That's the kicker for me. This is clearly a quantity versus quality argument, and I advocate for quality. You need to check out that video if you haven't. There's more feedback. The above is a summary. This is what their plan is, and that's actually currently live right now. So inscriptions are now better for the items they are on. This applies to new items earned in Anthem, not existing ones in your vault. So basically, anything that any loot, any masterworks that you pick up from now on will have this change. Anything previously earned will not. So keep that in mind. If an inscription applies only to that item, it is on gear icon. It will be useful to that item. Otherwise, the inscription will provide a javelin-wide benefit. So there's two different types of inscriptions. One that specifically boosts that particular piece of gear, and it's a little gearbox or little gear, like rotating gear icon. Or I have a little javelin body, and that applies across the board. Of course, those tend to be a little bit more valuable because, hey, if I get plus electric damage across the board, that's good. For example, an assault rifle will not have an item specific to plus pistol damage inscription. It may have an electric damage suit wide inscription, cool for a lightning build. I like that. Why do you have pistol damage on an assault rifle? Doesn't make sense. Some more information below. Removed uncommon white and common green items from level 30 drop tables. This was very highly requested change, and we agree. So that's that. Okay, cool. On that note, I actually did a Grandmaster 3 public event. It's not Destiny, world event, and it dropped, I believe, a blue, a purple, and I want to say a green. I actually did a Grandmaster 1, one of the rage. I think it was like the rage. Oh my God, I'm blanking on them. Oh my God, I'm blanking. One of those big fire dudes. Oh, I feel like a stupid idiot right now. He dropped 2 whites on Grandmaster 1 in free play. Doesn't make sense. I'm okay with this change. We have reduced the crafting materials needed to create or to craft a masterwork from 25 masterwork embers to 15 masterwork embers. As you salvage or harvest, you should be able to craft more masterwork items to get inscriptions you are looking for. Now that inscriptions are more relevant to their item, this should yield better results for players. That I'm not okay with. And here's why. They're basically kind of tiptoeing this, giving players more loot and also doing the whole quality changes. I'm not okay with this because the end game already, when you think about it, there's only 3 strongholds, free play missions, legendary contracts, and regular contracts and missions. I mean, across the board, there isn't a lot to do. It's a little bit shallow of an end game. Not shallow in difficulty because you can change the difficulty, but just shallow in the activities you can do. The plays, like areas you can get masterworks. And I'm not okay with this because this just makes it easier for you to get masterworks. And in a game where we're already struggling to like find certain things to do, like just give some more like relevancy to different strongholds. I brought this up before. There's no point in doing certain strongholds because the scaling is off. So like I'm not okay with this because it just makes it easier to get more Masterworks. And I wonder if they're doing this because as a way not to increase loot, not to fire hose, not to shower us in loot, but this does give you another avenue to get loot overall. So I'm wondering what the logic is behind this, but I'm not a fan. Additional inscription changes details. It's hard to write a short version of this, but I'm going to try. If we need to add more information later, we can do that. Current. There are a large pool of inscription options available to roll on items. The inscription pools are generic. Example, weapons. Every Masterwork item has 4 inscriptions. Major, minor, major, primary, minor, primary, major, secondary, minor, secondary. Change. Each item type now has a specific set of inscription options for each of their inscription pools. The pools are smaller and are targeted to the specific item type. Example, there used to be a weapon pool now. There used to be a weapon pool. Now there's an assault rifle pool. Oh, and the assault rifle pool has 4 pools for each of the inscription types listed above. Primary inscriptions are focused on damage or survivability. Any item-specific inscriptions gear icon will always benefit the item they are on. Thank you. Javelin-wide inscription suit icon will benefit damage or survivability across the whole javelin. Secondary inscriptions focus on utility and can be targeted to the item, gear icon, or the entire javelin. There are likely a bunch of questions. We will read through the comments. If we need additional posts to clarify, things will work. Thank you for all your support, Ben. Now, for this particular section, okay, so this is a good change. This is a good change because now it makes gear like intrinsically valuable. I talked about yesterday in the video. I know I keep bringing that up, but I have electric seals on my storm javelin that give me plus fire damage. That doesn't make sense. Now they're just making the loot system, 1, be more logical, make sense. 2, make each and every drop, particularly when it has a gear icon, it makes it a little bit more valuable than it used to be before. You're going to have more opportunities to get the gear you want or get gear that may be upgrades more often now. They have to toe a fine line here because, like I stated earlier, there is that okay, well, there's not a lot of loot in the game currently, a lot of variety in that sense. There's only a certain amount of Masterworks. I believe it's 27. There's a certain amount of Masterworks. Beforehand, you could get random Masterworks left and right with different, inscriptions on it. So in that case, that kind of elongates your game elongates your grind because you're not going to get as good gear. The frequency of you getting gear that you want now has just increased because of this particular change. Each item will have specific inscription options for each of their inscription pools. They're more smaller and targeted to that specific item type. You will get the gear that you want for your builds more often now, or at least not more often. The chances of you getting the piece that you want has increased. In this post, they didn't say they're going to change the drop rate, which I'm happy about. Although they kind of did that through the whole dropping the crafting by 25 to 15%. It's not changing the drop rate, but you can get more Masterworks now, essentially. However, they are now making it so you will get the items, and then items will have intrinsic value to them now. Overall, I'm happy. I'm happy that they made this change. It was definitely something that needed to be implemented. I'm glad it happened quickly, and that is something to be happy about as a player of this game. They're hearing you, the community, hearing us as a community, taking our advice, looking at it, dissecting it, and being able to pump out quick patches, quick response, this is way more than I've seen from other looter shooter like developers. Which is fascinating. Something else I wanted to point out, which is a little off topic, but quite a little bit not. Here, any updates on making G2 and GM3, Grandmaster 2 and 3 difficulties worth going through? The drop chance of Masterworks and Legendaries is not that much more noticeable in GM2, GM3 to warrant such a daunting task. So the writer of that article, looking into this, understanding the problem space for sure. I'm excited about this too because this will help with the loot issues drastically. If we can get to better, like, if they're just making endgame more valuable if they're able to tweak this option. And I talked about that specifically in my video that became irrelevant, like half of it became irrelevant, but the beginning half I talked about the scaling is an issue. There's no point to do GM2 and GM3. So I hope they're starting to go down that direction, beginning with this particular these particular changes, which are now live. So if you're watching this video as of February 28th, 2019, this is now live. You're able to reap these rewards. And I want to know what you guys think. What are some other changes you would like to see, specifically with the end game? I know for me, it's they need to figure out the scaling issues with the GM2 and GM3 difficulties. They just have to. If you want the end game to sustain itself, that has to be a priority. And I'm glad that they're communicating that, although it is on Reddit. But hey, you know what? They're communicating to us. So let me know down in the comments or wherever you're hearing this or watching this. Let me know what you guys think. What else do you guys want to see from the end game? Like, again, they're listening. Like, let's celebrate that. They are listening to us. So thank you so much for watching. Please check out that other video too, because I bring up some really good points about the loot, and I want to start a discussion in that. Like I said, I'm just dragging on here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck out there trying to get your God rolls and all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Peace.